full-time job, which I know that.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell everybody where we work, but Dickie's a very smart man. He works for a very big company and he's very high up. So he's just like us though, right? And you decide, hey, I'm actually gonna do this. I want to actually come up with something because it's been probably festering for years in the back of your mind, right? So, like, when did you start figuring out, like, hey, I'm gonna do this? I bet your wife thought you were crazy, right?
No, my wife's a golfer. In fact, when we go to Hawaii, she's the one who's saying, when are we golfing? Where are we golfing? And it's
that's cool.
Dude, we just paid 3 days in a row. But no, she's super supportive of this. In fact, she's part of the company. She's an incredible marketer. She's been marketing her.
Oh, really?
Career.
Oh, you're lucky.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. She's the idea lady. So I can tell you that. But, like I said, I thought of the idea 15 years ago, but I never really got into, a prototype. And
it was harder back then too, right? I mean, in the last 5 years, I feel like people can do stuff now. Before it's like, where the hell do you start?
Yeah. Back when the 3D printer was, a consumer product, that's when they were super expensive, thousands of dollars. And there was a term that was coined called the makers. And the makers really were the people who could do stuff, but the normal consumer couldn't. But now there's so many resources. But to answer your question, how I got going on this was I just sat down one day, bought a block of clay and made this ugly Fred Flintstone thing.
That looks like Fred Flintstone's wedge, actually.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous, right? But I thought to myself, okay, well, I used to work for a company who made design software, computer-aided design software. Mm-hmm. And so I know how to use CAD software. So I made my own 3D model and all this stuff. And I bought a 3D printer and printed it. And I also have I have a lot of resources, friends who, would offered to help me. And the first submission to the USGA was kind of a joke. I was very high and just about it and thinking, wow, this is going to be great. And I got this letter, this decline letter saying, we're sorry, but your design doesn't meet these standards. And it was the things like grooves and, the height and all those things, the things that are pretty standard. But there was the one thing that they said, this is the most subjective category in approval for clubs, is a thing called plane in shape. And plane in shape is interpreted. It has to, basically what it means is it has to look like a golf club. And this doesn't look like a golf club. So
look at anchor.
Yeah. So I licked my wounds and I said, all right, where do I go from here? But I got a handwritten note in the mail a few days later from the director of the USGA. Never met the man, spoke to him on the phone a few times, and he said basically this: Dear Dickie, you're really onto something. Golf needs innovation like this. I hope you pursue this. Signed, the man's name. And I thought, wow, that's really encouraging. And at that point, I was kind of like, man, maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't have the skills for it. I'm just a guy. And but that really motivated me. And that's when I turned up the knobs. I went and found people. I found this and this and this. And I probably spent, $10,000-$15,000 on just getting nowhere. And that's one of the things that's so hard about being an inventor is you spend money, everything you do, everywhere you turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was crazy. But I finally got to a point where I said, all right, I gotta really do something about this, or drop it and never think of it again.